want to say this is the best I've ever played. You know, I think I'm in a good moment, so I really hope to keep the momentum going, keep working.
Sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. Sana patuloy yung suporta.
The tennis world tuned in expecting nothing more than another exhibition match. What they witnessed instead was a moment that transcended sport itself, a gesture so powerful it sent shockwaves across continents and left even seasoned veterans fighting back tears in the stands. Under the blazing Melbourne sun, 19-year-old Filipino phenom Alex Eala did far more than defeat an Olympic silver medalist, twice, in front of a roaring crowd. She didn't just announce herself as one of the most electrifying young talents in professional tennis. She delivered a moment that will be remembered long after the trophies lose their shine and the scoreboards are wiped clean. Following her stunning victory, Eala made an announcement no one saw coming, a $300,000 donation, turning a dominant on-court performance into an off-court act of compassion that stunned the sporting world. In that instant, she proved that her greatness isn't measured solely in winners and match points, but in character, humility, and heart. This wasn't just a win, it was a legacy-defining moment. Standing breathless at center court, eyes glistening with emotion, Alex Eala delivered an announcement that silenced the stadium. She revealed she would donate her entire $300,000 prize purse to organizations devoted to caring for orphans around the world. $300,000 gone. Given away without hesitation. When reporters asked how she could make a decision so staggering, Eala struggled to hold back tears. "It was the easiest thing in my life," she said, her voice breaking. This wasn't a publicity stunt dreamed up in a boardroom. This wasn't image management or calculated brand building. This was raw, unfiltered compassion from a teenager who somehow remained grounded while the world began to fall at her feet. The reaction was explosive. Social media buckled under the weight of millions sharing her story. Hashtags celebrating her generosity trended worldwide for 3 straight days. Fellow players, veterans, and rookies alike posted tributes, calling her an inspiration. Fans launched fundraising drives in her name. Media outlets from Manila to Madrid splashed her story across their front pages. Even celebrities outside the tennis world, actors, musicians, humanitarian leaders, joined the chorus of praise. This was the kind of moment that defines legacies, the kind that turns athletes into icons. But what makes this story even more remarkable is this. Before Alex Eala could give away that fortune, she had to earn it. And earn it she did, by dismantling one of the most accomplished players on the circuit in a performance so commanding it sent analysts scrambling to rethink their predictions for the upcoming Australian Open. Let's rewind to the match that set the stage, the Quam Classic in Melbourne. Often called the spiritual home of Australian tennis, has hosted legends. It has witnessed champions rise and fall. Careers have been launched here. Legacies cemented. This year, it became the proving ground for Alex Eala's arrival, announced not with words, but with ruthless precision. Across the net stood Croatian powerhouse Donovic, an Olympic silver medalist and seasoned veteran. What followed was nothing short of a statement. The scoreline read 6-3, 6-4. But numbers alone can't capture what unfolded. This wasn't a contest. It was a declaration. A 19-year-old from Quezon City staring down a world-ranked, title-winning opponent and saying, without uttering a word, "Your era is ending. Mine is just beginning." Let's be clear. Donovic is no pushover. At 29, she has spent over a decade battling the best in the world. She claimed Olympic silver in Paris in 2024, falling only to the very elite on the sport's grandest stage. Her serve is a thunderbolt. Her forehand, a weapon capable of ending points in an instant. She has lifted trophies on clay, grass, and hard courts. By every measure, she is complete, dangerous, and battle-hardened, and yet, for the second time in just 10 days, she had no answers. None. Zero. Zip. This wasn't their first meeting. Just days earlier, on January 6th at the WTA 125 ASB Classic in Auckland, Eala had already beaten Donovic in a grueling 3-set thriller. That alone would have been enough to turn heads. A young talent toppling an established star in a hard-fought battle. A classic underdog story. But to do it again, on a bigger stage, with brighter lights and far more eyes watching, that's not luck. That's not a fluke. That's not catching someone on an off day. That's dominance. That's a message. That's a changing of the guard happening in real time. The opening set at the Kwong Classic was a masterclass in modern aggressive tennis. For years, critics had labeled Alex Eala a defensive counterpuncher, someone who waited for errors rather than forcing the issue herself. Those scouting reports can be torn up. What we witnessed was Alex Eala 2.0, and she is an entirely different animal. She stepped inside the baseline with the fearlessness of a seasoned champion, taking the ball early and redirecting Donovica's power back with interest. Her left-handed forehand, learned and refined at the Rafael Nadal Academy, cracked through the air with that signature whipping motion, painting the lines like an artist with a brush. She broke serve not once but twice in the opening set, each break igniting roars from the crowd that echoed through the surrounding streets, and when the set closed 6-3 in Ella's favor, there was a palpable sense in the stadium that something special was unfolding. The second set revealed exactly why Donovic has achieved everything she has in this sport. She's a fighter, an Olympian, and Olympians do not fade quietly. She raised her level, hitting heavier, serving bigger, dragging Ella across the court with precision and intent, and at 4-4 the tension was suffocating. This was the moment that separates promise from greatness. Alex Eala didn't flinch. She exploded. With Donovic serving to stay alive, Ella uncorked a backhand down the line so clean and fearless it froze her opponent in place, a millimeter-perfect strike that will live on in highlight reels for years. Break point. The crowd erupted. 1 point later, another backhand, this time cross-court at an impossible angle, sealed the break, and suddenly Ella was serving at 5-4 for the match. If the moment weighed on her, it didn't show. She served with calm authority, closing it out 6-3, 6-4, doing it again, announcing herself as a genuine threat to anyone on tour. Yet as stunning as the tennis was, what followed is what will echo through history. When the microphone was handed to her, the crowd expected routine platitudes, thanks to sponsors, praise for her opponent, talk of the next match. But instead, Ella looked into the camera, took a breath, and revealed she was donating every single dollar of her $300,000 prize money to charities supporting orphan children. The silence that followed was absolute, before swelling into an ovation that felt endless. Grown men wiped away tears. Hardened journalists lost their composure. This wasn't scripted. This wasn't normal. This was extraordinary, especially when you consider what $300,000 represents to a young player fighting to establish herself on the professional circuit. Here's a clean, powerful rewrite in a single cohesive paragraph, maintaining the emotional weight while tightening the language and sharpening the message that money pays for world-class coaches who refine technique and shape strategy. It covers flights to tournaments across 6 continents, accommodation in some of the world's most expensive cities, and the physiotherapists who keep a body intact through the brutal grind of professional tennis. It funds nutritionists, mental coaches, hitting partners, the unseen infrastructure that separates good players from great ones. For an athlete ranked inside the top 50 but not yet entrenched in the elite top 10, $300,000 isn't pocket change. It's security, investment, and survival. And Alex Eala gave all of it away, without hesitation. That decision reveals something profound about who she is when the cameras shut off and the crowds go home. In an era where athletes are often criticized, sometimes fairly, for being disconnected from everyday reality, where multimillionaires complain about private jet Wi-Fi while families struggle to put food on the table, here stood a 19-year-old who could have kept every dollar, upgraded her team, bought herself something nice, and faced zero criticism. Instead, she looked at that check and saw orphan children who needed help, kids without parents who deserved a chance at a better life. She saw an opportunity to turn success into something meaningful, and she took it. Social media exploded in the hours and days that followed. Heart of Gold trended worldwide for 72 straight hours. Instagram flooded with tributes praising her generosity. TikTok videos recounting her story amassed tens of millions of views. Even people who had never watched a tennis match shared her story, inspired by a level of selflessness rarely seen from someone so young. Comment sections overflowed with admiration. "This is why we love her," wrote a fan from Manila. "A true champion on and off the court," said another from Australia. "The world needs more athletes like Alex Eala," commented someone from New York. The sentiment was universal. In a cynical world that so often expects the worst, Alex Eala gave everyone a reason to believe in the good, and the tennis world took notice. Veterans of the sport, people who have seen everything and are rarely impressed, took to social media to commend Alex Eala's gesture, some sharing stories of their own charitable work and crediting her with inspiring them to do more. Others simply posting heart emojis alongside the Philippine flag and letting the symbols speak for themselves. The WTA issued an official statement calling her an inspiration and a role model, while former champions weighed in during live television commentary, including one Hall of Famer who said on air that in 3 decades of covering tennis, she had never witnessed anything quite like what Alex had just done. And the praise didn't stop at the boundaries of the sport. Humanitarian organizations reached out publicly and privately to thank her. Orphanages that would benefit from her donation shared videos of children whose lives would be changed because of her generosity. Celebrities from across sports and entertainment joined in. An acclaimed actor tweeted that Alex Eala had restored his faith in the next generation. A musician composed a song inspired by her kindness, and a best-selling author penned an essay on how athletes can reshape the world when they choose to use their platforms for good. The ripple effect was staggering, touching corners of society tennis rarely reaches. And to fully understand the magnitude of this moment, you have to understand where Alex comes from and what she represents. The Philippines is a nation of more than 100 million people with a deep love for sport, but tennis has never been its calling card. Basketball dominates the culture. Boxing produced global icons like Manny Pacquiao, while tennis largely existed at a distance, something Filipinos watched, not something they led. Alex Eala is changing that narrative entirely. She isn't just a tennis player who happens to be Filipino. She is a national symbol of what's possible when talent meets opportunity and unbreakable determination. With growing speculation about a return home, the timing couldn't be more historic. The inaugural Philippine Women's Open is scheduled for late January, and the Philippine Tennis Association has already granted wildcard entries to Alex and her close friend, Indonesia's rising star Janice Jean. Imagine the scene: Eala, fresh off a top 50 breakthrough and possibly a deep Australian Open run, returning to Manila to play in front of a home crowd as a national hero. The atmosphere would be electric, unlike anything Philippine tennis has ever experienced, part Beatles concert, part national holiday. If she plays, it instantly becomes the hottest ticket in the country, a once-in-a-generation opportunity for young Filipino fans to see their idol live, to witness the speed, the footwork, the intensity, the strategy up close. It would be a victory lap for the ages and a spark for the next generation. And zooming out even further, moments like this remind us that matches like the Eala Wang Senu semi-final aren't just dates on a schedule, they're snapshots of the future of women's tennis, signals of where the sport is headed after decades of waiting for its next defining era. Here is a clean, powerful single-paragraph rewrite, tightening the language while preserving the scope, momentum, and emotional payoff. For decades, professional tennis was dominated almost exclusively by American and European players, but a glance at today's rankings tells a very different story. China's Qinwen Zhang has broken into the elite, Wang Senu is rising fast, Alex Eala is carrying the banner for Southeast Asia, and Indonesia's Janice Jean continues her steady climb. Asian women's tennis is in the midst of a genuine golden era, a renaissance defined by discipline forged through structured training, relentless work ethic, and distinct playing styles shaped by diverse coaching philosophies. Wang brings flat, penetrating power that suffocates opponents. Eala counters with Spanish-influenced heavy topspin and a relentless fighting spirit honed at the Rafa Nadal Academy. This melting pot of styles has made the WTA Tour more exciting, unpredictable, and globally representative than it has been in decades. And at the forefront of that movement for Southeast Asia stands Alex Eala, proudly carrying not just the Philippine flag, but the hopes of the entire ASEAN region. Millions who have waited for someone who looks like them, comes from their part of the world, and belongs on the biggest stages in tennis. That is a massive burden for a 19-year-old, yet she carries it with grace, a radiant smile, heartfelt gestures, and unwavering respect for her parents and roots, handling pressure with maturity beyond her years. So here's the final verdict. Alex Eala did not lift the trophy in Auckland. Wang Senu earned that honor in a thrilling 3-set battle and deserves full credit, but in the grander picture, Alex won something far more meaningful than silverware. She won a moment that will outlive the tournament itself, captured hearts around the world, and, most crucially, secured the ranking points that redefine a career. Breaking into the top 50 is a graduation from prospect to proven professional. She is no longer just a promising junior or an up-and-comer to watch. She has arrived. And while the sting of that semi-final loss may linger briefly, the sight of her name sitting proudly at world number 49 will ignite a deeper hunger to push to 40, then 30, then one day into the top 10 and beyond. Mike and Riza raised a fighter. The Rafa Nadal Academy refined that fire into a polished weapon. And now the tennis world gets to watch her rise. The viral kiss cam moment was charming, but don't be distracted by the sweetness, because Alex Eala is climbing the tennis mountain with purpose, carrying her family, her nation, and the dreams of an entire region with her, and she is coming for the very top. Now I want to hear from you, the true tennis experts and the passionate fans of Champions Tennis. What did you think of Alex's spontaneous kiss cam moment? Was it the sweetest, most heartwarming scene we've seen on a tennis court this year? Or did her parents look like they wanted to disappear under the seats? And more importantly, now that Alex Eala is officially a top 50 player with real credentials, how far do you honestly think she can go at the upcoming Australian Open? Is this finally the year she breaks through into the second week of a Grand Slam? Drop all your predictions, reactions, and hot takes in the comments below. I read every single one and love engaging with this community. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the emotional roller coaster of the ASB Classic and Alex Eala's historic rise, smash that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow and reach more tennis fans. And if you haven't joined the Champions Tennis family yet, hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you never miss updates on Alex Eala, the ADP Tour, the WTA Tour, and everything in between. This is Champions Tennis. We don't just watch the game, we live it. We breathe it. We celebrate every triumph and feel every heartbreak. Until next time, keep your eye on the ball and keep believing in the power of dreams.